Welcome to TVC Live.
Welcome to TVC Live. As you can see, we are not in our rig.
Where are we?
We are not in our rig. Where are we?
So we had, as you know, as those that were there last week, we had some technical issues.
A little bit of problems.
Well, some problems. So this week we were moving campgrounds anyway, and so we contacted this campground and said, we've got a show to do. What can you do to help us?
Please.
And they were incredible. So we are at the Denver West Central City KOA.
Central City, not Center City.
Yes,
I kept saying Center City, but it's Central City.
Lisa and Chuck Spencer are the owners here, and they were so accommodating. They've hooked us up with high-speed internet, and
Might
it
be the
is
fastest
incredible.
we've had yet.
They're not going to get me out of this room. I'm going to stay here and
It's going to stay overnight and work.
get some work done. It is blazing fast. So thanks to
So they
Lisa
let us
and
in the
Chuck.
rec room. Shh, be quiet.
That's right,
We're
yeah.
allowed in the rec room today.
You may see some people coming in and out, but
Yes, they're fixing pizza. And we have our masks.
We have our masks, so
Yes.
we're official. So anyway, so we're so glad you're here. We hope you can hear us. Is anyone saying they can hear us?
Not yet.
Oh,
Not
yep.
yet.
So let us know if you can hear us. We've got a little bit of a delay, of course. So we've had a crazy week. We moved out here to Denver West KOA, and it is just stunning, beautiful. We did get out and
Yesterday.
took a long drive yesterday, and
We went on the Peak to Peak Highway.
stunning. I
119.
highly recommend it.
Yeah, it's gorgeous views.
Yeah.
Of course, we're right by Rocky Mountain National Park, which is not open yet, but we were able to kind of go
See
around
it.
the edges of it
Yeah.
and take some lovely photographs, I'm sure,
Yeah.
when I see them next week. And then we got to see that little church that you've been
Yeah, so I've
wanting to
had
photograph.
this church. I can't remember the name of it. Saint
Thank
Verlaine.
you, Johnny, for letting us know.
Yeah, Saint Verlaine or something like that, and it's been on my bucket list for a while to photograph. And we got to kind of scope it out yesterday. Took some photographs, so I'm going to go back one night and do something maybe at nighttime with stars or something.
Yep.
So
Hey, Sarah, thank you for
busy
letting us
week.
know. We look good,
Yep.
she says, on
Oh.
sound and video. Well, she didn't
Okay.
say we look good. She just said all was good.
Good. Well, thank you. Well,
It is a nice KOA, Sarah. It's up on a hill, and we are surrounded by beautiful views, and really nice park. Yeah.
Yeah, so
very
if you
nice.
do-
Got
if you
some
do-
nice amenities.
Yeah, it's a beautiful park. It is a really nice KOA. And if you do come here, ask for one of the sites. There's some sites up on the upper hill that if you're in a Class A or something that has
Windows.
big windows in the front, then they have a pull-in slots that overlook the
Range.
Yeah, the Rocky Mountain National, not the Rocky Mountain National, but the Rocky Mountains, and it's just really beautiful. So recommend you asking for those spots.
Good idea. Jeremy says you should get those photos up on the cloud while you have the bandwidth. That's a good
Oh
idea.
yeah, Jeremy. So you're going to make me work
Thank you,
all
Sarah.
night.
He should.
I was
right?
just joking.
Tom and Ellie, nice to see you.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. So we've
We
got
have
a
a great
big show.
show.
We've got a big show. We've got Katie and Eric waiting in the wings. And we've got some Deborah's news, some cool stuff. We've got a trivia game that we didn't get to last week. And the only reason we're going to play it is because I spent hours, literally, not hours. I spent quite a
30
while,
minutes.
30 minutes coming up with Airstream trivia. And
by gum,
we're
we're
gonna
gonna play it.
We may not play it this week. One day we're going to play it. That's a teaser. So you have to tune in every week to see when Airstream trivia is going to happen.
Can you tell I need a haircut? I keep messing
Oh
with
my
my hair.
God, we all need haircuts. I need a haircut.
All right.
All right, so what do we want to do? Oh, we want to get into Deborah's news. Wait, first, before we get into Deborah's news, just to
Yes.
remind everybody what we're doing. RV Renovations Week, we have a fantastic RV Renovations Facebook page. Over 20,000 people in that RV Renovations Facebook group. That's just amazing, blows me away. But there is some great chatter going on there about renovations. And when we saw that, and Deborah saw that there was home renovations month. Yeah.
May is officially the National Home Improvement Month.
Yeah. So we thought, well, let's do some RV renovation stuff.
Yeah.
So this whole month's been about that. We've got Katie and Eric tonight. We've got Ashley Mann, who not only does some renovation, but she does some
She's good at
organization.
and decluttering.
Yes, and now she's getting into buying and selling rigs that have been renovated. So really cool stuff. And then we're going to wrap things up with Techno RV. Once you get your rig renovated, and then you're ready to hit the road, or maybe you're already on the road. What kind of technology do you need to shape things out?
So you can have as close to streaming Wi-Fi.
That's right, exactly.
But also just because Tammy and Eric are fun.
They're fun. A lot of fun.
So they're great.
So let's get into the show. Thank you so much for being here. We are so glad you're here. And now for some Deborah's News. Please welcome Deborah for Deborah's News.
All right. First of all, I don't know if everybody else has heard this, but there have been a lot of news reports lately about COVID.
No.
And but specifically recently about how it's changing travel. And so, of course, everybody knows that it's changing travel because of airlines and the cruise ships and the hotels and stuff. But what it is also doing is having a huge impact on road trips. Lots of people are now saying, well, if I can't don't want to stay in a hotel and I want to get on an airplane, I guess I'll just drive. And what better to drive in than an RV? So there have been a lot of folks out there, a lot of experts saying now is the time to start RVing. Gosh, they're all a little behind, aren't they? I know. Peter Greenberg is big. He's a big travel expert. He was on CBS this morning or one of those shows really promoting the fact that, yes, it is the season of RVs. So they are all expecting a big RV season this year of sales and rentals. In fact, Outdoorsy says they're up 450%.
Holy smokes.
And RV Share said since April they're up 650%.
Wow.
In rentals. So all that to say we might have a few guests at the campgrounds with us.
No
yes.
kidding.
So good news for campgrounds. Maybe not such great news for those of us that do this every day. And of course, there's a lot of folks already headed towards the national parks. There's been a lot of reports now about some of the parks that have opened, and there are seeing big crowds. So be careful out there. Okay. The other thing that I thought was really interesting I recently saw was that someone, and it was very unclear who, has hired a marketing company, Bo Stern marketing company, to do a survey of RV owners. They said, well, gosh, we think travel has changed with RVs, and we want to know that for sure. So we're going to go talk to some people that own RVs and get their opinions about travel and purchasing plans. So that's supposed to come out on June 15th, so be watching for it because they want your opinion. So there you go. And in other fun news, and so this gets into my good news segment, first of all, from the RV world, Winnebago donated a what is this called? A Warrior Expedition, or Micro Mini. I'm sorry, they donated a Micro Mini to Warrior Expedition, who helps by taking some warriors out and having them have good experiences out in the outdoors to help them get over their traumas.
That's cool.
And they do some outdoor therapy, so it's really cool and really nice of Winnebago to step up to the plate and help our warriors.
Yeah, we had that
for Memorial Day. A nice time to remember that.
Yeah, exactly. And we had that report a couple of weeks ago about Thor donating a bunch of rigs for the COVID
folks. So
so
nice to know our industry is stepping up to the plate.
Yeah.
And also stepping up to the plate, this young man he realized after graduation, which while they might not have all gotten to have many graduations, they still got their caps and gowns. They might not have had the actual ceremonies, but he thought, well, what happens to all these gowns after we've had graduation? Yes, they could just hang in your closet for years and become your
really
son's
kind of a waste.
Harry Potter costume when he was big enough. Not that that really happened, but yeah. And so he decided he did a drive and had thousands of people donate graduation gowns, and they have donated them to healthcare because these make great PPE gowns because they have the zip ups and the right big sleeves and stuff. So they're great gowns, and they've been able to donate them to various hospital facilities that have really been appreciative. So that's kind of fun.
Yeah.
And then lastly, I don't know how many of y'all saw this story. This came out, I don't know, about a month or so ago. This young man was turning 100 and wanted to do something. So he decided to do 100 laps in his backyard to raise 1,000 pounds, because he's English, 1,000 pounds for charity. His work ended up actually raising $40 million.
Holy smokes.
So everybody was petitioning that the Queen should knight him. And guess what? He is now Sir Thomas More.
Great.
Captain Sir Thomas More. He has been knighted for his efforts of raising money that went to various
That's awesome.
organizations. Yeah, and I thought that was
40
fun.
million.
And he's adorable. He's just this little man, and everybody wanted him tonight, and he was just being all humble, but really cute. So
Yeah,
great. So
that's
fun.
fun.
So just wanted to share that with y'all. So that's the news.
Thank you, intrepid reporter Deborah.
Yes, of course. I'm hard at work on my internet.
All right, so wow, let's get to Eric and Katie because we've got a lot to
Yes.
cover. We've got some great pictures. They've got a great story to tell. And so if you're not familiar with Mountain Modern Life, I got it right.
You got it
Yes.
right.
They have a great website. Highly recommend you go check that out.
Beautiful website.
And they've done some amazing work. So I would like you all to give a warm round of applause for Eric and Katie.
Yay!
Yay! Oh, I didn't have my sounder on.
You didn't have your sounder on. Usually has sound of applause.
Wait, hold on. Let's get to there.
Wait a minute.
There we go. All right. Oh, the crowd loves you. Welcome, Eric and Katie. Thank you so much for coming on.
Oh, yeah, thanks for having us.
Absolutely.
Let me let me turn the volume up just a little bit. That crowd is so loud.
Okay. All right. Well, let's start by you telling everybody where y'all are located right now.
So right now we're in northern Florida, not Tallahassee or Jacksonville, but kind of in the middle of nowhere, just kind of posting up and trying our best to stay safe.
Yeah. We're close to family right now. That's where we're at.
Yeah.
Close to some family.
That's fun. That's nice.
Yeah, yeah. Good at
Yeah.
this time of the year with all this weirdness going on. It's good to be close to family.
Absolutely. So for those folks that maybe aren't as familiar with you, we'd love for you just to give us the short introduction of who you are and how you came to be Mountain Modern Life.
Well, I guess so. A while back, we knew that we wanted to live in the mountains, but I was working, a corporate job, and I was traveling all over the place. I was gone about 5 or 6 days a week. Meanwhile, Katie was at home running a couple websites that she had built, Upcycled Treasures and a Handcrafted Wedding. And we knew we wanted to get to the mountains, but with me gone all the time and her extremely busy, it wasn't very likely we were going to be able to achieve that with the way we were going.
Yeah, basically, it's like we were in a good place and we were thinking about buying a house, but at the same time, it's like we were in a good place financially, but we never had time together. So it got to that point of like, well, what is the freaking point? If we can never see each other or do anything together, then what's the point of this? So basically, we decided eventually he was able to quit his job and kind of help me work remotely.
And the ultimate objective with that whole process of me leaving my job was for us to find something where we could hit the road. And in the beginning, Katie was thinking maybe a tiny home, like we would build one on a trailer. And well,
that was before the travel. I went through a whole, containers, tiny homes, like every single thing basically. And then he really is what kind of brought up the RV more so. And then we really decided because it was easier to travel than the tiny home. So yeah. But I was pretty much against RVs, to be honest. I was like, they're so ugly. And I don't know, after looking at tiny homes and then looking at RVs, it was just I was like, it doesn't seem very exciting. And he told me we could renovate it. So I was like, all right, I can do this then. So,
do you regret telling her that now?
No, I've actually I've learned so many valuable skills, and the RV so inside and out that I'm glad we did it the way we did.
No, we love DIY projects. I think he misses them, so I think he enjoys it too.
Oh, come on over to my house. I'll give you some DIYs.
Yeah, we got plenty of DIY.
Yeah. I'm like, anyone need help painting?
Oh my gosh.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, don't sign me
Actually,
up
I'm
for
getting
that.
desperate, maybe.
Yeah, that sounds like. So tell us so you decided to get an RV. So first of all, you have a Tiffin, right? So what made you go Tiffin?
Well, to be honest, I really wanted a fifth wheel because they're so residential and the ceilings are so beautiful. But we didn't have a heavy duty truck. And of course, it wasn't soon before we decided to get an RV that we had just traded in our vehicles. So we actually didn't have a big heavy duty truck, and to trade in our Jeep at the time, we would have been upside down. So it just made more sense at the time to get the motorhome. And Eric was really stoked about driving it. So he was like really gung ho about, thinking I was going to be making him lunch or something while he drove. So
I felt a lot more comfortable though with a drivable unit at that time, because I had worked in film a little bit out in LA when we first met, and I had driven 35-foot cube trucks and things like that through LA. So I was comfortable that you put me behind a Class A, I'm going to be okay.
He really thought C class though for a while, and then I was like, I just couldn't get over the cab. Like to me, it just was too cavernous when I went in, and so that's really why. That was like the main reason we switched to the A class.
Got it. Okay.
And Tiffin's a great brand.
Tiffin. I narrowed it down actually, because I did all this research, and so what I tried to do was figure out like the top 5 manufacturers, and then I went into RV forums, and it's not the same as it is now. This was 5 years ago, so there wasn't the same kind of online information, but the forums were fantastic.
Quick note. When Katie puts her mind to something, she goes. We were probably, when she said she did research into them, she put in some time, and we landed on Tiffin because,
Well, they had really great reviews, and it was really the owners, and that's kind of what, we narrowed it down though to floor plans then, because it was more about seeing what we could find. So we were driving a couple hours different directions to see what we could in person, because we knew we wanted a pre-owned based on our budget, and we knew we were going to renovate it, so we didn't want anything brand new. So then it was kind of seeing some of the floor plans in person, and then we just looked at the one that we actually found, it was literally right down the street from us. It wasn't even, they didn't have pictures posted because they had just gotten it in, and we were down at the dealership. We bought it before it was even cleaned or anything. I was like, yes. Well,
that was it.
We made a smart decision.
So what year is it?
It's a 2008.
Okay.
2008, Tiffin Allegro, Open Road, 32, LA.
Okay. So it was a little bit older when you got it, and then you knew right away you were going to renovate it.
Yes, and we wanted to get. There's some really great renovations where people have painted the exteriors and updated the exteriors of RVs, but at the time we just decided we wanted a full body paint, because we figured that way it would look newer. We heard a lot of things about people not, struggling to get into certain RV parks if it was older. And we're like, well, if it has full body paint, you really can't tell if it's older or newer. So that was one of the reasons why. And then 2008 was the year where the last year, I think, where it was the full body paint before 2007.
Okay.
So that narrowed that down.
I didn't know that. Yeah. So did y'all start right away with renovation? Did you live in it for a while, or?
So when we first got it, we took it for our very first adventure, and we ended up taking off all the cabinets and taking everything.
No, that wasn't the first time.
Oh yeah, you're right. That was the second trip. Yeah. So we did take it for a 2-night adventure down to Florida, actually, to visit my parents. Yeah. And then our second trip, we went up to the mountains by Helen, Georgia. And we ended up priming and starting to prime.
Well, it was raining really bad when we were there. No. So and there was an Ace down the street. So we didn't have anything with us. He literally had to he went and I think we had primer with us for some random, maybe I was maybe I can convince him. I don't know. But it was.
You just happened to have primer.
Yeah. Sounds like a stud up.
One of the
It wasn't the best job because it was nighttime and dark, and I was being impatient. We had to, do a better job when we got back home. Yeah. But we didn't live in it. No, I sat in it a few times, and we kind of sketched things out and tried to figure out. We knew we were going to change some things about the dinette booth, the TV, that kind of thing, but. I definitely recommend people generally try to live in it if they can, because we had no idea how we were going to live in the space. Even over the last few years, it's changed.
Yeah.
So
your ideas evolve as you live in the space, and you think, okay, now I really understand what I want to do.
Yeah. Even buying stuff. I think we've learned now that there was stuff we bought before we moved in thinking we would need it that we've never touched. So it's okay, live in it for a little while and then figure out what you need. So
definitely.
So I am curious about the two of you. So you're both DIYers, DIYers. You do it yourself a lot, and it sounds like some of that's been self-taught. But what was your background that made you think I can renovate an entire RV?
We didn't really have that experience. I just like you said, would I have make a decision? No.
Yeah.
We did DIY projects for the home. Like we were building tables. He was building things like that. It was really just we wanted to be creative and have fun and just mess around and see what we could do. I mean, we weren't too I don't know. We really didn't worry about it too much.
That's good.
Let's just see what happens.
Yeah, that was kind of it. I mean, I had taken a wood shop when I was in high school, but my mom and dad would always tell me about this funny story when I was like 3 years old. I would always take all the kitchen pans out of the cabinet in the kitchen, and I would climb underneath there, and my dad built cabinets, and I would say, "This is my cabinet shop." So I used that to convince Katie or give her the confidence that I could help get it done.
Oh yeah, you've had your own shop before.
Well, and you must have genes. Then if your dad owned a cabinet shop, it's in your genes somehow.
Right.
Exactly. Exactly.
But to be honest, we really saw the RV as like our guinea pig.
Yeah.
So we were just like, whatever, we're just going to do things in here, and then it'll help us when we have a house someday eventually to, I don't know. That's kind of the way we saw it. It was more of like a guinea pig. So it was definitely daunting in the beginning, but yeah.
Well, and I think you've tapped into something there. I think part of it is just fear, right? So people just aren't confident and they're scared they're going to mess it. I know that's why I don't do it. I'm just scared I'm going to mess it up.
That's why I told him to do it. So if he messes it up,
then you have somebody, oh, brilliant. Yes.
Not brilliant
well,
at all.
That is one of the big things too. When we first, we did a lot of the bigger projects before we took off, and when we first started it, I mean, with Katie being an internet research wizard, she won't take credit for it, but she's really good at it. I mean, there really wasn't a ton of information for some of the things we were coming up with, so it was scary, and we were starting a YouTube channel at the same time. So it was like, what do we?
We don't know what we're doing.
Yeah,
we don't know what we're doing.
We're trying to show people, but at the same time, in the back of my mind, I'm like, am I about to destroy our RV? Like, what's happening here? You know, so it was very daunting. But at the same time, I feel like, you know, if you want to do something and, you know, you do your research, you look into it, you know, you can do it. You just gotta, you know, push yourself and believe you can do it.
Well, I think you kind of just figure out what your comfort level is, and then over time your confidence grows, and you'll do more. Yeah. But the thing is when we were renovating, it was back in 2015, and what's interesting is there wasn't anyone else renovating RVs. Like, you had a blog that I could find anyway. But I think there was a lot of people like around that time. We were all like renovating at the same time, because it seems like right after that, all these like amazing people like came out that were, and I'm like, man, if only I had this as resource. Like, but that's what's great about it now, is there are just so many amazing resources and people that are sharing great, especially on Instagram. Instagram's huge for.
And Facebook.
Like Barry was saying at the top of the show, the Facebook group we have, Renovations with 20,000 people. I mean, the pictures those folks put on that,
it's incredible.
It's amazing.
I know. I'm like looking and I'm like, geez, where was this?
Yeah.
Like, I'm always sending people. I get emails all the time, and I'm like, you need to join these Facebook groups. Like, they are amazing.
Yeah.
It's a great resource for people who have questions or who are looking for something like the same RV and want to see, you know?
They're very helpful with telling people or giving it. I love it when somebody posts, I'm thinking about this, and then she gets 100 comments of, no, you should do this instead. So,
there was a lot of that.
Let's look at some of the things that y'all know. Y'all were kind enough to send us some beautiful pictures. So
you're on a little bit of a delay, but we're going to bring up your living room. And
the first thing to talk about is this puppy dog.
Oh, yes, the puppy dog.
Yes. So McNally, he ended up being a pleasant surprise. So we were actually making our first jaunt west across the country.
This is a couple years ago.
Yeah, this was a few years ago. I think it was 2017 when we were making the drive. And we were actually coming across Kansas when I stopped at a rest stop, and a semi actually backed into the front of our RV. And it basically destroyed the whole front. So for 8 days we had to stay at the rest stop because we were like, well, if we drive, then maybe
we were waiting on the adjuster to come out. So we
Yeah.
were just like, you know,
Yeah.
the whole windshield, it was bad. But anyways, when we were at the repair shop,
Well,
you know, we were like, what better time? Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so when we're at the rest stop waiting, I kind of trickled in a little idea like, hey, maybe it's time we go ahead and get a dog. And Katie's like, no, 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 no. Well, after the 8 days, and once we got to the repair shop, her tune had changed, and she was showing me pictures left and right. And then
No, the problem is when you get on like petfinder.com,
Yeah.
you know,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
like over. Like that's just not. Yeah, so we're at a repair shop and we basically adopted McNally when we were in Colorado, and
Yeah.
you know,
Oh my.
hey, it was the best thing ever. So
Yeah.
it seemed like a bad idea, but it
worked
Amazing.
out.
No,
Yes.
and it's a
I
great.
mean, he's
It
adorable.
really helps. It really helps the photography.
he's a perfect model. He
That's
really
right.
He is.
Exactly.
Okay, so tell me in this picture, you have two pictures actually of your living room. What I love is they're different. So you you change it.
Yeah. What were you thinking? So yeah. So the left one, I believe, is a little bit older than the right one, if I recall.
The
Tell
left,
us. Yeah.
left
tell
one
us
has
what
a shag carpet, and the right one
Yeah.
the carpet.
What's funny is sometimes I see these and I'm like, oh, I miss it when it was like that.
Oh no.
But the thing is I had like an idea, and originally I really liked the mountain art that I put
Right.
up in the front behind us actually, but I had some other mountain art that I had in the kitchen, and the mountain art I put up front, it was something I'd wanted to do since before we hit the road, and then we were on the road for a while. I did the other mountain art and I didn't think about it, and I did the new one, and then I was like, wait, there's like mountains, like this is like too much. So then I was like, well, I kept trying to change out the one in the kitchen, but I just really liked it there. So I'm like, well, we actually still have it, and we just built like something on top of it, basically. And I'm always looking for like oil paintings or some cool art. When every place we go, I loved thrift. Like I just love thrift shopping and like looking at antique shops and flea markets. So I finally like found just this, like, it's actually a lithograph, but it was just like so beautiful. And I was like obsessed with it. And that's what we have up there right now. And the carpet was more of like a placeholder, because sometimes like I'm obsessed with vintage Navajo rugs, like border, like just it's bad, but they're crazy expensive. Like seriously, for probably like a year and a half, I've been searching like forever. Every day I'm like looking at auctions, going to all these stores, trying to find it. And they're thousands and thousands of dollars. And we have like cats whenever I find the right size. So I actually got one that's like a Navajo inspired rug. And it looks just like kind of like the ones I liked. So I finally splurged and I love it. So yeah.
Looks really cool.
Someone, I think, what is it you say on your website? It's you have to design the place you live in, or the environment.
Yeah, the environment you want to live in.
Make sure that's if you want a Navajo rug, you should have one. So,
it's a lot. To be honest, though, a big part of it is like convenience and cleaning, because it's so much easier to clean. The other one was shedding, and we have 3 cats.
Oh, yeah.
3 pets.
Yeah.
We don't need any more shedding. Yeah. Like you can see me earlier. It's like there's pet fur because McNally's over here. It's like, yeah. So it was shedding, and we're having a. I'm like, I shouldn't have to take care of a rug this much.
Right.
We actually have we do have them on these chairs because my mom reupholstered it, and our cat like tore it up on the side. So it's like. They actually work great up here, so the cats can't run.
Right, exactly. So in your living room, that couch, that's not the couch that came with it, right?
No.
So
Eric built it.
Yep, that was one of our beginning projects that we built in there. We knew, so we didn't need a flip out bed so much because we knew we were going to be traveling the country where we really didn't know a lot of people, so we weren't going to have people.
They're going to have their own RV or tent. No one's going to. They can sleep on the sofa, is what we thought. Go ahead.
Yeah. So we needed the extra storage, or at least in the beginning, we thought we needed all this extra storage. We have plenty of storage. So we custom designed that and created in the back. There's actually a little flip up lid behind the sofa so that we can put like TV trays and different things like that back there. It
was supposed to be for the table leaves for our expandable table. We were supposed to put those back there, which we never do because that's inconvenient. And honestly, there's things that I would totally change about the sofa now. At first we thought, someone could lay on it. But the way we did the cushions, my mom actually upholstered it, which is amazing. But the way I designed it, I really love mid-century modern style. furniture. And so the cushions kind of go down. So the bottom piece really isn't that long. So if I would have done the bottom piece all the way across and the cushions on top, it would have given us
could have been
space.
like a mattress.
And we totally could have had like a piece that came out and made a bed, because honestly, I'd love to have slumber parties in the living room, and that sofa is great for the pets use it more than we do. Like,
Well,
so yeah.
you've always got, next month you could do it.
Exactly. Side note, though, I think that goes back to kind of the point from the beginning, how we started the renovation before we lived in it. You know, I think if we would have done it the other way, we would have been able to, make it a little more user friendly.
Well, and real quick, I'll also say that I was trying to find a sofa, because I think residential furniture honestly makes an RV look residential, but the space is so awkward. It's actually smaller than a twin, so it was just really hard for us to find the style I wanted in our budget that had storage. It was just like, so we built it, and it worked out. But there's a lot more small modular sofas available now.
So you mentioned that table. I think we have a picture of the table. So
this is the hidden part. You want to see
and then so this is that area, and then that table pulls out from there. So is that something that y'all built, that whole section right there?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's probably the project I'm most proud of.
It's amazing.
Because well, thank you. I mean, Katie and I came up with this one kind of together, but you're like, I'm not gonna do that. That's not gonna work. Well, in the beginning,
all I'm saying is, if anyone has an idea, keep pushing. Eventually they'll cave.
Yeah. So we knew in the beginning that we wanted to kind of create a living room space where we did have a place to sit across from the TV. But originally our TV was up in between the captain's chairs, and it was really awkward to watch. So then we started thinking, okay, well, let's do a TV on a lift, and a fireplace would be nice. And we need to have a place to work at the same time. So then Katie was like, okay, well, let's put it all in one cabinet. And
I did a lot of research. Honestly, it was like ridiculous trying to find the slides and find everything. And, because every RV is going to be different and what you need is different. So it's like there were a million different ways we could have configured it. But based on having the fireplace and then like needing the table and having the TV inside, it's like we had all these little challenges, which I really kind of love, especially because I'm like, hey, husband,
here's the challenge I'm giving you to solve. Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, I loved it though, because she walked out into the garage one day, and I've got these thick chalk lines drawn on the garage floor, and it's like a box, and it's like the fireplace on the front, where the TV lift will fit, where the TV is going to be. And I basically took it and I drew the design for the interior of the media cabinet just right on the floor in chalk so I could see it, but I did it to scale for the space in the RV. So then really, once it came down to it, it was basically cutting 1x2s and, attaching them inside. And then, but I'm not going to lie. When I first turned on the fireplace and it turned on and I hit the button for the TV lift and the TV came out, I was like, okay, we can do anything.
We're still like every day when that TV goes up, we're like, ooh, I don't know why. It's so like,
it's pretty cool.
No, that's it's
really
incredibly
awesome.
Impressive.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen the RVs that have that and I love it.
Mm-hmm.
I know that was one of the things Barry really hoped we'd get, but we didn't. But that's impressive that you made that all yourself. And it's beautiful the way you've done the wood. And now that would have a story. I know some of the wood in your house has a story.
A lot of the wood has a story, but that wood does not.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's like planked wood from like.
Well,
clothes.
there is a little story though. So Katie actually made all the doors for the front of the media cabinet.
Which is why one's like super crooked. You're a character.
It is character, but no, that was I think store-bought wood that she had stained over and colored.
It's beautiful.
Well,
Well, it's very pretty. Very pretty.
Whatever you did with it, it was you did it right.
Yeah.
And knowing that
Oh,
Eric could do that, Eric, we're glad to have you over to our place.
Yeah. Like I said, Barry really wants one that does that. Now you know.
We can make that happen.
We do want to go to Colorado.
There you go. I'm talking. All right. Okay, so what's next? Let's see. We've got
we had a question about the desk. Dog and
Oh.
Tom and Ellie want to know that table's huge and glorious. It looks a little longer than the cabinet, but it must fit. How or does it fold out? So
Yeah.
I
How does
know
that
it's.
go back in there?
I know if you go on their website, you can actually watch a video of Eric pulling it out and putting it together. But Eric, if you want to give a short talk on that.
Yeah, so when Katie was talking earlier about finding the right pieces, that's really what she was talking about. Is the underneath the table? Not you can almost see it in the picture up there right now. There's a little bit of a metal trim, and it's actually a slide out piece. So they just
The telescoping slides.
telescoping.
They're like drawer slides on,
Yeah,
steroids.
pretty much drawer slides,
All right.
multiple sections, so it just pulls straight out
Yeah.
and pushes straight in.
Now the actual table leaves, the thing is that there's ways where you can have it like piano hinged and like fold over where they would go in, but our problem is with our fireplace and with our TV lift and at the height, there just wasn't enough space for that, so we actually just store. That's why we made the sofa table, thinking, oh, we're gonna store the leaves in there, but we just put them like in front, like.
Yeah.
We just slide them out.
So it's basically 3 pieces of wood that you're putting up on top of the telescopic, and then you're putting the table legs on it as well.
Yeah, and the table legs actually do fit inside there. I just push them in. And sometimes, like, I'll just use 2 leaves because, it does suck up the whole living room. I will say that, like, sometimes it's annoying, and it takes, like, a minute to set up, but convenience,
Yeah, no, that's totally.
Yeah,
it's a beautiful, and you have such a big workspace.
Yeah.
So that's awesome, especially when you're both
working
from RV.
Eric gets a little corner. Just kidding.
No, she's not.
No,
kidding.
she's not.
No, we have another desk in the bedroom though, which I actually use one in the bedroom a lot now. So.
Johnny Lightning wants to know what cities are on those clocks.
Oh.
They're not necessarily cities, just time zones.
Yeah.
So Eastern, Central, Mountain, and Pacific.
Nice.
Another question about your TV lift and fireplaces. How many 2x2s did it take to build your TV lift fireplace? It looks awesome.
So we used the 1x2s, and then there were actually 2. I want to say total it was probably 6 or 7 8-foot 1x2s. If I had to guess off the top of my head, I can't remember entirely. But there also were a few 1x3s that I used on the back wall. And I used the 1x3s on the back as main supports to go across, but also so that I could attach the TV lift using the 1x3s versus the 1x2s gave me a little bit wider of a kind of base to hold that in place. But other than that, the rest was the 1x2s, and then some.
And it was like the Craig jig is really what we used, right?
Craig jig and screws to attach it.
There are some. I mean, we have like a post and some videos. It's going to depend on everyone's space, obviously, but there's also some other ones, that you can kind of. Yeah. You should watch ours for sure. You need more.
That's right.
There weren't any when we did it. He had to figure it out because, especially in the RV, there wasn't anyone really showing it that we could find. So. Yeah.
If we could go back and redo it, I feel like we would have been able to create videos and, posts that went step by step to where you could watch it and it would go straight through. Right now, if you go to the website and check it out, I mean, it's going to be really helpful if you're looking for the information to get it done. It's going to be able to show you the concept with pictures all through the stages.
What we would do differently.
And what we would do differently. And
when you come to do ours, we'll video
We'll videotape it.
And then you'll have it the way you want. It should be done. Yeah.
Genius.
Genius, yes. Okay, well, then we're going to go through a couple of pictures kind of quickly. We have the bathrooms, which is amazing. Now, your bathroom you can get to from the hallway and from the bedroom. And so you have some great a storage closet, but do I remember hearing that you put that in yourself? Did you make that?
Yes.
We kind of took it out. I mean, it was there, but we took out the existing one, basically rebuilt a new one.
Okay.
So.
Yeah.
That's where the litter box is.
Yeah, that's where the litter box was. But it was kind of constructed before as more of an upper cabinet with drawers at the bottom.
Oh, okay.
And we knew that we wanted to hide the litter box in there, so we basically ripped it all out. And when we actually had a water leak, it was kind of advantageous to take out that anyway. It made it easier to get to our leak. So
during a renovation, we found out we had a water leak in our backyard.
Yeah.
It used to happen to a lot of RVers.
Yes.
We had
I was gonna say,
completely
what would
finished.
happen if people didn't find water leaks? Yes.
I know.
Yeah, we had pretty much finished the kitchen, and then we had
We
to.
weren't finished. We painted.
It was pretty cool. We
I
had done
wanted
a
to
lot
make
of work
changes
in
anyway,
there.
so it didn't matter.
But with that cabinet though, some of the coolest aspects of it are the metal and the wood on the door there was actually from my family's farm up in Wisconsin.
I love that door. That's beautiful.
Yeah. What's really cool about the wood is, so we're taking a walk on my family's farm, and there is snow everywhere, like probably 8 inches, 10 inches on the ground, and like 50 feet out in the middle of this snow, there's this little piece of shimmer that comes in the sun, and Katie's like, "Oh, what's that?" She's like, "That's gonna be perfect."
I love junk.
I'm like, "Perfect for what?" He's like, "This big," and she's like, "No, go get it." And I went out there, and sure enough, I grabbed that little
Go
piece.
get it.
It was a huge piece of metal, and that's what we used for the
Yeah.
door. But I had no clue what she was even having me go out there to get, and it ended up being the piece for our
Perfect.
doors.
Well, and the
Perfect.
vanity in that bathroom is from the cabin venue we were married at. The owner actually gave us a bunch of wood from the 1800s, so
Oh, wow.
that's
So that's very
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Joanne wanted to know, is that black paint satin or flat?
wait, the black. Oh, in the bathroom.
Uh-huh.
That's Annie Salon graphite, so it's a chalk paint, so it was flat.
Okay.
And I used a varnish sealer, but I would just use like a clear poly in the future.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of people talk about that chalk paint, and now this Beyond paint, I guess, where it works really well, and you don't have to. You don't have to put primer in?
Technically, that's kind of the way it is with a lot of those chalk paints and like Beyond. I mean, the problem is that it depends on what you're painting. So yes, it can limit prep, but in most cases, especially if you're in an RV and you're painting like laminate or some other kind of plastic, or you generally still want to use a bonding or a gripper primer, just because it's still going to give you better results and it won't chip off. So there are some cases where you don't have to, but in a lot of cases you still do need to prep. So it just depends.
Oh,
we got a really nice compliment from a Kristen Levelston. She's a huge fan.
Okay.
Kristen, and it says that you've been such amazing help, and all the different RVs that you feature, giving them big ideas, great ideas for they're renovating their 2008 Crossroads fifth wheel. So
that's
she says
awesome.
your step-by-step videos are awesome as well. So nice. That's very
Huge
nice.
fans.
Huge fans. And also David
That's
Murphy.
awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's nice.
Really, really cool transformations. Like the RV community, there's just some amazing renovations. So we share every 2 weeks we share a new renovation. And
yes, and your website, I think your website's beautiful.
Yeah, we love your website.
The way it's laid out. So really nice. So I did want to ask you about something else that we've gotten questions about in the past. Like we showed on that first picture of your living room, you have no problem changing things around. And also I've seen where you've done some seasonal, like at Christmas, you have a beautiful video of your Christmas decorations, which I will tell you, my husband,
You're going to tell this story?
I am. So my family in particular, my mother, I don't know if you're on today or not, Mom, but my mother is a huge Christmas, let's call her addict. No. Yeah. And so he sent her the video of your rig saying, "Hey, look what they've done at Christmas. Yeah. Why haven't you done this for us?" And she's like, I can top that. I can top that.
So we might have
a
competitive holiday video coming out.
But anyway, what I was going to ask you is, do you decorate for more than just Christmas? Do you decorate for other seasons?
Christmas is like the main beast. I mean, you can switch out like pillow covers and like throw blankets. Like, so sometimes during spring or summer, I'll kind of put lighter things. I did switch up our curtains, like to make them white, because honestly, it was just feeling really dark. I loved the blankets I had up before, but I had been trying to change out the curtains. But it's one of those things where I knew I was going to get a new rug. And with the rug I had, the curtains were basically everything kind of dominoes off each other. So I was waiting. And I tried putting them up at Christmas time because I was like just wanting my white curtains. And because in a motorhome, it's different because it's on our windshield. So it was winter and it looked funky. So I kept them up. spring, I was like, I need these white curtains. I need to lighten it up. So doing that. But at Christmas, when we first left in the RV, I was like, I'm going to at least have one huge bin or 2 bins of Christmas. We're going to dedicate a whole basement storage to Christmas. Honestly, like we rarely use any of that stuff aside from the lights. Like we really try to just keep it more greenery, and like, because with greenery, we don't have to store it. And I love the smell of real greenery.
Yeah.
I have to have a real Christmas tree. So, and so really it's using things that are, that we can actually, we don't have to worry about storing.
Okay,
Where do
that
you
was going
find
to be
a
my
re-
question. I'm sorry.
Oh, I was just going to ask, where do you find a real Christmas tree small enough to put in your rig?
Allie's trying to say hi.
Well, that's most of the time we have to get the smaller ones for sure. And like when you go to, that's why she was
McNally.
proud. All
They told us earlier, folks, that McNally gets jealous when she talks to other humans. So
Even virtual.
Yeah. Okay.
But actually, so we did a cool thing for 2 of our Christmases where we started actually going out into the national forest, and we would spend really way too much time and way too many days out there trying to find the perfect tree.
Well, really, it's like, ooh, we get to hike and look for a Christmas tree. I mean, that's like the best thing ever. It's like, maybe we should go back tomorrow, and maybe we should get more permits. Which,
we generally a couple times we've gotten one for the inside and one for the outside, it never fails. When we find our perfect size Christmas tree for the RV, there's always some really cool, scary, or always ends fun. The circumstance that we get the tree. Last year we ended up.
Last year we didn't get to because it was snowed in.
No, remember we didn't get to go Christmas tree hunting, but we went to this nice little family-run Christmas tree farm, and it just so happened the day we were there, the owner's granddaughter was there, and she was probably 9 or something. So we're walking around, and she's like, "Oh, the big ones are here," and we're like, "Well, we're looking for a smaller one." So she's like, "Oh, this one, or this one," and she insisted on carrying it to the car for
Wait,
us.
did you say something scary happened?
Well, last year wasn't the scary one.
Okay, I'm like, nothing happened. No, we're in
Let's
the
just say
Olympic
there's always
National.
a story.
There's always a story. That's right.
And there should be.
A 9-year-old carrying a tree. Oh my God!
Yeah, I know. This sounds.
But a year before, we got stuck on a huge mountain in our 2-wheel drive Jeep, and it was snow.
Yeah,
and
there was boulders that had fell. We had to literally the road was oh my gosh! I was just we had to somehow turn around.
Oh my.
It was
just
iffy. And we didn't even get a tree that day. We made. Once it got dark, we just switched to survival mode.
Yeah.
We just wanted to pick it out, but
It was pretty.
yeah.
Don't want to die for a tree.
Okay, so no, don't die for Christmas. David wants to know if, on top of all the other talents that you have, Katie, if you also cut hair, because he can tell that Eric's gotten a haircut.
Not my dad. His sister actually is a hairstylist, and we just saw her because it was his birthday yesterday.
Oh,
So we just saw
birthday.
at his
Oh,
hair.
well, thank you very much. Yeah, she's a hairstylist, and we went over there for my birthday, and so she was like, "You can't go on a live interview like that."
I was calling him. I don't know if anyone remembers, but Ryder Strong, 1990s style. He was rocking it.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So just to kind of wrap up, I wanted to ask you guys. So clearly on your website and the things that you highlight on your website and what y'all are doing, you really try to help people understand they should live in an environment that they want to live in, and that they should take that chance, and they should find their theme or their picture, their image. So tell me your advice for folks when they're thinking we want to renovate our RV.
Well, I think first and foremost is you can definitely find inspiration. I definitely would say to kind of figure out what you want, but I definitely be intentional, I think. And Gosh, there's like so much. Depends. Like that's such a loaded question. I think if you're really not sure where to start, I would definitely start by searching Pinterest or even Instagram, and you can search hashtags if you want to look specifically at RVs. I know you mentioned Ashley Mann's going to be on next or whatever. I love her, and her RV inspiration on Instagram. She's constantly sharing RVs on there, which is great. But if you start like a Pinterest board or even a saved Instagram folder, and you start saving inspiration to it, that you can then go back and look at to kind of figure out like what what you love. And it's like I don't know. I would say there's a lot of different things. I look more for like being intentional and focusing on the feeling a lot. Like it's more of like a holistic approach, and making it, for us, it's really important that the RV serves us, and that it functions for us, but keeping things convenient and easy to maintain and easy to clean so that we're not serving the RVs so much. You know what I mean? Like it's providing for us and for our like what we need now, but also like for our goals and our dreams and like what we want out of it. So it's creating a space that's not just beautiful, but that's functional and can help you, live out those habits or those dreams that you have. That makes sense.
And in particular with y'all's, I mean, it has a very, excuse us. We are in a rec center.
Yeah.
So a very mountain theme, right? And that's because you are looking for your mountain, so to speak, right? And your forever place.
Well, I'm very much inspired by mountain modern architecture, and it's more of the, it's more of the architecture and the details, like the wood, keeping things more like earthy and natural and using more natural organic materials that are more sustainable. So trying to really blend that into it. And I just love wood and white. Like it's just so beautiful, like creating that balance and that harmony and just bringing nature in. And I love history. So it's like our slide out trim came from the 1800s and it was like hand hewn. And it's like, those are the things that like tell a story and like bring depth and character into our RV, and the ones that we made.
And it's amazing too. Even our hand hewn slide out trim in our living room. Once we finally found it, because she had been looking for that since we got in the RV. Okay, real quick. But what was so awesome about
we've only been talking to our pets for a while, so
but yeah, what was so awesome about it is learning how they used to do it back in the day, right? And that got me really excited for when we do find our property. I mean, I'm not going to hand hewn our entire house, right? But maybe I build a little shed where I take some trees.
Or we can just find some from the 1800s and use that.
Or I could just do it because I want to learn
we could do
the experience. We'll see. We'll figure all that out, I guess.
See,
On your ceiling up there, out in the hallway there, right?
Yeah, we made most of the light fixtures.
Yeah. So y'all, I'm sorry, I don't even have, I can't even think about the thought that I could make a light fixture. Yeah. So that's just not words that come out of my mouth.
They're cheaper now on Amazon. So honestly, back 5 years ago, it was going to be super expensive to get these types of lights. Now they're like, it would have been, now I would just buy them probably.
It is mountainmodernlife.com.
People are telling us we have no sound.
We have no sound. Can you hear us now?
Wonder why they have no sound.
I don't know. Can you hear us, Eric and Katie?
I can hear you.
Okay.
Yeah.
For some reason, our microphone muted for a minute, but I think. All right. So say your website again.
So it's mountainmodernlife.com, and you can also find us on Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest.
Instagram. All is Mountain Modern Life.
Yeah, all is Mountain Modern Life ever. YouTube also. Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you so much. You guys have been a delight, and we sincerely appreciate you coming on.
And we would love to see you in Colorado sometime.
Yes. Yeah, and you don't have to build any furniture for us.
Just to come see.
That's just a joke.
Yeah.
Sort of. Well, thank you for having us on.
Yeah, it was an absolute pleasure. Thank you.
Thanks. I hope we see you on the road. Take care.
All right.
Y'all be safe.
Bye-bye.
All right. Bye.
Bye. All right, we have sound again, folks. I hear people saying yes, so thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very
Yeah,
much.
I'm not sure what
So,
happened
I think Katie and Eric are still going to look at the chat. So if you guys have something to say to them or have a question for them we didn't get to, please go ahead and put it in the chat for the time we have left while we are playing Barry's game.
Oh, yes, we have time to do that. So, yeah, I know we didn't get to some questions.
We're staring at the chat to make sure we can hear.
Yeah,
so sorry our faces
we're
weren't
distracted.
looking the right way.
Yeah. Okay, so yes, so this Airstream trivia I put together for last week, and we got to a couple of questions, and everything fell apart. So we wanted to just go through it because I just thought it was fun. So I don't know how long the lag is right now, but I just thought some of this was amazing history for Airstream. So the president, we made it through this question. The president had a mobile Airstream office, which he used to visit during White Sands, New Mexico, where the Army demonstrated its latest weaponry for the president and his staff. Which president was that? George Washington, LBJ, JFK, William Jefferson Clinton. So let's see how long our lag is. Does anyone have a guess? Now, the Integrated Natural Health folks can't guess because they guessed this right last time. No, they guessed it again. I told you couldn't guess.
You didn't hear that before then.
All right, so actually, JFK.
Who
is JFK? There you go.
Excellent, Joanne. Very good.
All right. So the president's...
Good job, Katie and Merrick. They were on it last week too.
The president's daughter toured America in a caravan of Airstreams to help publicize the nation's beauty in the See America First campaign. Both National Geographic and McCall's Magazine covered the tour. And you know that it's a big deal when McCall's Magazine covers it. Is McCall's Magazine even still a thing?
I don't know. That's a great question.
Name the daughter, and for bonus points, name the president. Abraham Lincoln and Mary Jo Lincoln. They probably toured in Airstreams. George Bush and Jenna Bush. LBJ and Linda Bird. William Jefferson Clinton and Chelsea Clinton. Oh, Doug Poole. Doug, you're such a card, Doug. All right, it is Lyndon B. Johnson and Linda Bird.
Good job,
Jeremy got it right.
And of course, Larry.
Integrated Health is no longer allowed to play in our games.
Just because they always get it right, that's not fair. Johnny got it right too. So
right,
you need to give a bigger delay on telling the answer.
All right, so here's the next one. I'll read slower. In 1969, Neil Armstrong and members of the Apollo mission were quarantined for weeks in a specially built Airstream. So this is really cool. I saw this Airstream after returning from the first voyage of the moon until it could be determined that there was little likelihood that they were carriers of lunar pathogens. You don't want to be a carrier of a lunar pathogen. President Richard Nixon visited them while quarantined. Apollo 1, 3, 7, or 11? Which Apollo?
Oh, sorry, Teresa. I didn't mean to slight you. I should have known it's you, not Larry. Okay, so the answers we have so far is D. Apollo, what is that, 2 or 11?
Yeah, Apollo 11.
Apollo 11 from Teresa. Odd as well.
Okay.
One more guess. Anybody? Ooh, whatever one landed on the moon.
Apollo 11.
Good job, Johnny.
And there's a picture of it in the Huntsville Museum. So they found this. They lost track of it. NASA lost track of it. It ended up somewhere in the South on a fishing camp, and people were using it by a lake, and they were using it as a fishing camp. And so someone alerted NASA, and NASA went and bought it back, and now it's in the museum.
Awesome.
Good story, huh?
Good story.
Oh, famous Neil Armstrong quotes. So we know what Neil Armstrong, what's he famous for? What quote?
One giant step for man, or
One
small step for man, giant step for mankind.
Well, after 3 weeks in the Airstream, his next famous one was the black tank is full. All right, let's skip through to this one. All right, this is our last one. This fashion designer icon created a foundation to benefit medically underserved persons. In 2002, this designer and his or her creative team transformed and auctioned off 4 vintage Airstreams to benefit the foundation. Airstreams that she decorated include Adirondack Caravel, Western Bambi, and the utility surplus Airstream. Which designer was it? Ralph Lauren, Karl Lagerfeld, Diane van Furstenberg, Stella McCartney.
I used to wear Karl Lagerfeld's cologne.
Oh, you're so cool.
Yeah. And Ralph Lauren, we were on his ranch recently.
Yeah, that's why I thought this was cool.
That's
So that's why I threw him in there as an option.
Jeremy guesses that it is Ralph Lauren.
Ralph Lauren. All right. Well, Jeremy's a very fashionable guy. He might.
Johnny says
Lightning?
A2.
All right.
And so does Joanne.
So
Look, all the
everyone-
J's believe it's Ralph Lauren. Teresa believes it's Diane van Furstenberg.
Okay. So the answer is
Ralph Lauren. Excellent work.
Yep. Oh, modern life. Got it. Yeah. So
So
when
Brian.
we were outside of Uray, we drove through his ranch, 17,000 acres.
Right out of Ridgeway.
Out of
Colorado.
Ridgeway. technically.
17,000 acres.
17,000 acres.
Which Johnny last week told us was 26 miles.
Yeah, we just don't know. We just don't know how that relates. Johnny, did you ever get back to us on that?
No.
On how big that relates? So there's the picture of the.
Well, if you'd seen that picture, you would have known it was Ralph Lauren.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because that's very
I would
loud.
not have known that.
Oh. There's a reason for that.
All right. So yeah, there's more, but we'll save that for another day, maybe.
Oh, more Airstream trivia? I think that's enough.
All right. Well, that was cool. It was.
Good job.
Yeah.
Good job.
Well,
Good work.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you
You're
for letting me do that.
Yes, of course. So, what else do we have?
Well, that's it for today's show. So we're going to close you out with a really brief tour that was sent to us by a young lady on Renee Rose on the
One of
Facebook
our folks
group.
on the Renovation group.
One of the
Yep.
Facebook Renovation group. If you're not a member of that group, go sign up for it. It's awesome. And then we'll close you out with that. And then next week we have Ashley Mann. That's going to be really cool.
Yep.
So get on the calendar for that. And I think that's it.
Yep. And then, so next 2 weeks we have Ashley Mann, and then we have Techno RV.
Techno
We have a question for you guys in the chat. Actually,
yeah.
Before we do this, we wanted just to ask you, as we love doing these lives, and we wanted to ask you if you feel like we should do them every week, every other week, once a month, or just take a break. Like maybe, like we're thinking we do them for a while and take a break for a little bit, but wanted to see if you guys have any preferences or any opinions on it. So let us know in the chat as the video is going. You can let us know what you're thinking and how often you would like to be able to see our shining faces. But at any rate, wanted to thank you guys for coming along again, and thank Katie and Eric. They're wonderful.
Yeah, that was great.
Fun. They're so fun to talk to. And again, encourage you to go to mountainmodernlife.com and see what they have on their website. And also, we'll see you, I guess, soon.
Next week,
hopefully
yeah.
next week.
Yeah.
And so, see you around the campfire.
That's right. Until we see you next time.
Enjoy the video.